Jodi Thompson, great to get you back on the Rebel Agent podcast.
Thank you so much for having me back.
You're very welcome. It's been 6 months, I think, since you were last on.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Amazing. I've had a great year.
Looks like it from all the social media stuff.
Yeah, it's been busy.
And you've got a run coming up, haven't you? A marathon.
I have indeed. Just over 2 weeks, I'll be doing the Abu Dhabi marathon, which I can't even believe them words are coming out of my mouth, because in January of this year, if you'd have asked me to go on a run with you, I'd have said absolutely not. And now here I am, signed up for my first and probably last ever marathon.
You'll get the bug for it. You'll record a good time.
Probably. I've got an addictive personality.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Obviously, we did a podcast before, but maybe briefly you could give an introduction for anybody that hasn't seen that.
Yeah, of course. So I am Jodi, originally from Liverpool, but I've been living and working in Dubai for over 7 years now. So kind of one of the OGs in the Dubai real estate recruitment space. I'm the head of recruitment for the White & Co Group, which, in my opinion, is the best real estate company in Dubai.
When we spoke before, you said you got some insights, some things that you wanted to discuss, some aims for 2025. Maybe you could talk about those.
Yeah, of course. So I feel like this year has been a massive revelation for me in terms of the brand that I'm growing. And I think a lot of that stems from the authenticity and the transparency of the White & Co Group brand that is being built and being a part of that. I think with social media, it is very easy to get caught up in numbers of likes, followers, and just wanting as much reach as possible. Whereas I kind of wanted to make sure that the brand that I've built remains authentic. My goal when I very first posted on LinkedIn 3 or 4 years ago was never to be an influencer. I cringe at the word. It was never to be an influencer. It was never to grow a massive following. I never set out with that intention. And I think when you start seeing those likes and those follows coming through, it's very easy to kind of lose direction. You do get that dopamine and you do think, oh, look at me, like doing all of this. But I think it's very important to remember why you started. With anything in life, you have to go back to why you started in the beginning. And that was, for me this year, I went back to the very beginning as to why I started posting on LinkedIn. And that was purely to educate. It was to make people aware of what the reality of living and working in Dubai looks like, specifically real estate, because I do think it's been over-glamorized as an industry. I think it is portrayed as a get-rich-quick scheme and that anybody can do it and that it's really easy and you come to Dubai and you'll become a millionaire overnight. And I wanted to make sure that people knew that that isn't necessarily the reality. And there's a lot of hard work that goes into being a Dubai success story in any industry. And for people to be aware of what to look for. You know, when you're overseas and you're not on the ground here in Dubai, you maybe don't know anybody living here, it's very difficult to know what to look for and what makes a great company, what makes a not so great company, what should be your priorities and the main things that you're looking for. And that was the reason I started posting on the platform, was to kind of change the narrative a little bit and for people to have realistic expectations of what they were getting into. And that's maintained the whole time. I still, to this day, you know, the posts that I put out there, I try to be as informative as I possibly can. I base the information that I'm putting out there from questions that I get from people on a daily basis and, you know, answering those most frequently asked questions. And at one point, I did get to a point where I got a little bit carried away, and the likes and the follows and everything, you get a little bit of a big head and it's all great. And I felt like this year I needed to strip it back and I needed to focus on quality, reaching the right target audience, reaching people that want to move to Dubai, that want to know about life in Dubai, that want to get that information so that they can be in the strongest possible position to make an informed decision before committing to the move. So I stripped it back. I had a massive clear out of connections.
It was 20,000, wasn't it, that you cleared out?
Roundabout.
Yeah.
It was a mass clear out and it took a very, very long time.
All credit to you for that, because people do look at the number of followers, don't they?
Yeah.
So having that clear out, and you've got it back up now to 97,000, I think.
Yes.
So just short of 100,000.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it took a long time, but a lot of it as well was dormant accounts or people that weren't engaging or people that weren't posting, and you know, a lot of it was around that. But I just kind of wanted to go back to basics, and I think that is underrated in anything of what you're doing. When you get to a certain point, sometimes you have to stop and think, I need to go back to basics. And that's what I've done
Yeah,
this year.
why am I doing it in the first place? What's the
Exactly.
reason, as you said? And you are very authentic. And I think do you post every day?
So
most days.
Again, this was something on the previous podcast I spoke about posting every single day. And I do still think it is so important to post as much as you can when you are wanting to be that person that shows up every day. You want to be that person that when people go onto LinkedIn, you're the first person that they see. So they engage with your content and again, you're reaching the right people. But again, it was actually when I went to Kenya on safari in September, I didn't have signal everywhere I went. I couldn't physically get onto LinkedIn sometimes when I was in the back of a van. And
how did you feel?
Anxious.
Yeah,
it literally gave me the worst anxiety because I've been posting every single day. Even Christmas Day, I will still post. And I've been doing that for 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a tough one to navigate. However, I then realised off the back of that the world doesn't stop, and sometimes it takes a couple of days for your content to actually show up on someone's feed. So they might not see your content every single day. So yeah, however, the goal is to post every single day. I still want to show up every day.
Yeah, and you make it authentic. You provide good content. So do you get writer's block sometimes?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very fortunate that writing is something that has always come very naturally to me.
Oh, you wanted to be a journalist, didn't
you? I did,
yeah.
I always loved writing. I'd watch a film and then I'd rewrite the script with my own spin on it when I was like 6 or 7. Like, it's something that I've just always loved doing. So it doesn't happen too often. And I think I'm quite lucky that I eat, sleep and breathe real estate. If you ask anyone around me, I absolutely love the industry that I work in. I love the company that I work for. And I'm surrounded by inspiration all the time because there's inspiration in the office with success stories of the agents, the growth of the business, the awards that we win. There's so much for me to talk about from what's happening inside White & Cow. I listen to every real estate podcast under the sun. Like any company, any influential person within real estate, I will listen to their podcast. And again, that will spark things. And, you know, sometimes I'll literally be like, right, hey Siri, set a reminder on my phone. There's a particular thing that someone said that I've thought, I want to have my say on that. I want to give my opinion on that particular topic. So I'm surrounded by inspiration, which makes it a lot easier. And again, as soon as I've got the topic, because writing does come quite naturally to me, I'm very fortunate that I can just put it out there. I'm very, very against ChatGPT.
And that's obvious from your post. Do you run it through ChatGPT for the grammar side of things, or not at all?
Never. I've literally had people, so one person will say, oh, this is ChatGPT, and then the next comment will be, well, there's a spelling mistake in there, and I'm like, I can't win.
Yeah, because it does show that it's non-AI stuff.
Yeah, I think it's important if someone is going to trust you with one of the biggest decisions that they're ever going to make in their life, that you have to be authentic. You have to be authentic and transparent in order for them to have that trust and credibility with you. Because a lot of the time, you know, your LinkedIn, especially because it is a professional platform, it is where people will go when they are looking for a particular topic around a specific industry or a specific career move, that you have to be able to build that trust and credibility. They have to know the person behind the profile.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, that's brilliant. Let's talk about White & Co and the continued success. I think when you came on before, there were about 380 staff in total. What sort of number are we at now?
We're over 400 now.
Yeah, so it's still growing.
Yeah, I don't know the exact figure off the top of my head because, you know, it's not just the brokerage side of things that grows. Yes, we have more sales, leasing and commercial brokers coming into the business. But with that growth, everything else has to grow as well. So our senior leadership team has grown. We've got a new operations director, a new director of strategy. We've got a chief happiness officer, which I think is absolutely amazing. And from what I've seen, you know, one of the only real estate agencies in Dubai to offer that support in the form of, you know, somebody that is there for you from a well-being perspective. Yeah, sure. The admins have grown.
Because real estate agents are spending many hours of the day doing their work, aren't they? So having somebody at work, I can see how that helps. Sorry, I interrupted.
No problem. And just on the back of that, they spend a lot of time at work and it's a hard job. I can sit here until I'm blue in the face and say this is a really tough industry. It is very intense. It is very all-consuming if you want to be good at it. So just having somebody there that if you have had a down day, if a deal has fallen out of bed, maybe something has happened back home 3,500 miles away that you can't do anything about because you're here, having that person that you can kind of vent to and get those things off your chest makes things a lot more manageable. But yeah, as I was saying, admins have grown, marketing has grown, like every single part of the business in terms of the support for the agents has to grow in line with the number of agents that we bring in. That support network can never drop off.
Yeah, I was looking at the website and it's director, as you've just said, director. And I think, gosh, this business isn't even 4 years old.
I know, it's absolutely crazy.
And it started off with Callum and 7 others, something like that.
Yeah, so Callum and 7 other agents and 1 sales director, and then we had a leasing director, and we're now at 9 directors in total: sales, leasing, commercial, training director. We've got our director of conveyancing. We've got, as I mentioned, operations director, director of strategy, like all these different directors that all have such pivotal roles in the business that I feel like a lot of companies our age wouldn't necessarily need to have those people in place this early on. But again, White & Co is a corporate enterprise. We are up there with the top players in the game, the companies with the biggest brands, the companies with the most transactions. And I think the next youngest company to us within that category is 10 years older than us, and we're playing at the same level at this age is phenomenal. So to think where we will be in the next 4 years is, astronomical.
Yeah. And then who is it who's working alongside Callum, the other guy that's...
the managing director, Neil.
Yes. And he plays a very important part, doesn't he?
Massive role. Neil is just such an integral part of the business.
No.
I don't know.
No, doesn't matter.
I'm not sure on that one. I've never asked. But yeah, Neil's fantastic. He is so business minded. He treats White & Co like it is his own company. And I think that is so important. And I think Callum has done something absolutely amazing. And I think the people that he has selected to have around him was so important because we are all so proud of the company that we're part of. And we all want to be part of that growth. And that is then so motivational for us to see what we've done in this short space of time. Every single person in their positions right now are like, right, what are we doing for the next 4 years that is just going to take this company off the charts? And yeah, I think
I can just imagine somebody, potential recruit turning up, you do the interview, and they're going to be so pumped up, aren't they? If you offer them the job and showing the enthusiasm that you're showing now, it's a fantastic start, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I love the fact that, I'm that first point of contact. So I give them all the information and I make sure that they've got every single bit of information that they need about Dubai, real estate and White & Co. I will then be their touch point throughout the entire process.
You stay
regularly
with them.
Regularly checking in, making sure they're okay, having regular catch-up calls, telling them about all the exciting things that is happening in the business, because I want that excitement to stay right the way from the first interview until the first day that they walk into the office. And then you see them come in dressed all sharp. They get this gorgeous box of like White & Co goodies on their first day. Candice, our trainer, is phenomenal. So she's there. She brings amazing energy. She's so knowledgeable. She's so empathic. Like she's an amazing kind of first introduction to the business for that kind of training process. And then, as I said, all of the directors are we all just really enjoy what we do and enjoy being part of it. I think that is it. I think we're all just really proud of the company that we're part of.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And we were talking earlier, White & Co have done what some of the other like House & House or Allsop and Allsop, Better Homes have done, and that you've gone kind of a bit horizontal as well with other parts to the business that aren't real estate.
Yeah.
Can you talk about those companies?
Of course. So again, I think this is something that is really important for people to know, because when you're overseas looking to choose a company to work for, you don't necessarily know what you should be looking for. And one thing that I really love about White & Co is you have so many different multiple income streams. You have so many multiple income streams that you can be generating, and no is never a no. We've got property management, we've got our short-term rentals business, we've got SOA, Structures of Art, which is our interior design and renovations company, which offers everything, you know, from furnishing packages to complete renovations, ripping villas out, redoing them from the start. You know, whatever your client needs, we can handle it internally within the White & Co group. So we've got all of the real estate side of things, which I think is really important because it enables you to offer a much better service, a higher quality of service, which will then lead to repeat and referral business, which is key to a long-term successful career. And then we also have White & Clayton, which is the recruitment arm, which don't actually specialise in Dubai-based recruitment. They recruit for roles that are in other parts of the world. Again, a phenomenal business that is only 18 months old and has done amazing things. And then we've actually got Sota, which is a salon that a lot of people don't know Callum was involved in. And it was voted the #1 most aesthetic beauty salon in the whole of Dubai. So again, another little award for the White & Co group there. Yeah, definitely. So there's lots going on internally that I think people, you know, are pleased to hear about when we go through the interview process, because as I say, you know, you're not just relying on the sale or rental of a property. You know, you have other things to discuss.
So as an agent, you come on board, you might be struggling for sales and rentals a bit, but you have got these other income streams from the referrals.
Exactly.
Which is a very good point and something I hadn't thought of before. Yeah. But it's all, and the other advantage is it's retaining that client who, when they do want to sell the property, if you put them onto, I don't know, one of the other areas, property management or whatever, or you sent them for a haircut or whatever, they will come back to you and you're in constant contact. Yeah.
Speaking of haircuts, we've actually got a barber's chair in our like recreational area, so the boys can actually get haircuts while they're in the office. Again, just.
Have you got ping pong?
We don't have ping pong. We've got a golf simulator, which has been very popular. We've got pool tables. So yeah, there's plenty to keep the agents busy, but we're quite fortunate that a lot of our agents are very work focused. So they probably don't get used as much as they could, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. I just want to go back to sort of on the previous podcast, we talked about training. And so it's Candice, is it?
Yes.
That deals with that. Is the training on personal branding?
We have a marketing element of the training, which is done by our head of marketing and our marketing managers. So they will come in and they'll talk about the importance of personal branding, including that in your business model, because I think in 2024, you're absolutely mental if you're not building a personal brand. I know it's not for everyone.
Well, it's worked so well for you, hasn't it? So that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, and you know, we've got some amazing people. If you look at David O'Keefe, the personal brand that he's built in 18 months is absolutely phenomenal. He's known in the industry as the bounty man. Everybody knows him. He's built an absolutely amazing brand. You know, you look at the likes of Blue Waters Jay, who was a White & Co OG. He started right at the very beginning with us. He's built that brand.
And sorry, he's still White & Co?
He is, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Again, these are massive brand ambassadors that we're really lucky to have, because, you know, to have those people that are so proud of where they work and they want to build a brand around what they do and the business that they work in and the area that they specialise in, you know, is something that we find really important. So that is definitely something that's implemented into the training side of things. Not everybody does it, and that's okay, but I do think it does work for those who do.
Going back to the social media, you're active on Instagram as well?
I am, yeah. Again, another platform.
How do you find that works for you? Is that more personal stuff or?
So again, this is something that, you know, I've built quite a big brand on, and of recent, I do feel like I've gone more down the personal route. I do think it's important for people to see the person behind the brand, as I've said. However, one of the big goals for 2025 is to make that a lot more work related. So I've been working closely with marketing, because there was some videos that I'd done earlier this year, coffee shop conversations, that had some amazing guests, and I would like to kind of keep that going because they were really informative, and I did have a lot of people reaching out. So, well, I think it's important.
And can I just ask, with those, because those guests that come on, agents for White & Co, that kind of kickstarts their personal branding and their social media, I guess, doesn't it, if they're new agents?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So the initial conversations were with agents that were in the first 3 to 6 months of their careers with White & Co. And I would like to continue doing that process of those newer agents talking about their experience, because obviously relocating to another country is very daunting for a lot of people. So to hear somebody's experience and for them to talk about how I and White & Co have looked after them through that process and that onboarding and getting settled into a new home, a new job, a new industry for a lot of people, I think is really important. But what I also want to showcase is more of the success stories.
Yeah.
Lots of those people that I spoke to at the beginning of this year have had phenomenal years. Some of the achievements that they've done over the past since January until today are fantastic. And I want to make sure that I'm highlighting that side of things as well.
So where they were at the beginning of the year and where they've reached now, and the sales they've done, the rentals they've done.
Yeah.
And that success.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And that mainly goes on to Instagram, does it?
Yeah. So LinkedIn does have a video content sort of side of it that I've not branched out into massively. I think the written content is where my heart will always lie with LinkedIn. And I think that is what does well. Yeah. But having said that, I've not tried. So maybe we'll start introducing a few videos on LinkedIn, see how we go. But definitely for Instagram, the video side of things, I think is where I've had the best success.
Yeah, that makes sense. Before I let you go, Jodi, let's talk about the future. Presumably for the next few years, you see it at White & Co. But I'll be interested to hear.
Yeah, definitely. So actually prior to going over to White & Co, I had thought about going on my own.
Really?
So I launched the Dubai Recruiter, which is my Instagram brand, as part of those plans. And then I was in contact with Callum for a year prior to making the move and joining the White & Co group. As a recruiter, that takes a lot of pride in what I do. I didn't want to move from company to company. I wanted to make sure that the next move that I made, whether that be it going alone or going to another company, was going to be a long-term partnership. So I watched White & Co for a full year. And I was just so impressed by what was happening and everything that had been achieved in such a short space of time. And I knew at that moment, I sat down with Callum and I was like, 100%. And on that first day that I walked into the business, I knew that was where I was meant to be.
That must have been a great feeling.
It was so wholesome because I was like, wow, like I've been in Dubai for such a long time and I've never had that same feeling walking into somewhere and just feeling at home as I did with White & Co. So the plan is 100% to just continue progressing within the business. I don't feel like White & Co have even scratched the surface of our potential and what we can do in this market. I feel like there is so much more growth, there is so much more opportunity that I would be mad to do anything else. And, you know, even the people around me that have known me for a long time all say to me, you are White & Co through and through. Like I am the biggest advocate for the company because I just love what they do. I love my values just align so well with the employee well-being, the reward and recognition, giving back to the brokers. It all just aligns so well with me that I don't think I could be as good at what I do if I wasn't.
Presumably you had a reasonable amount of passion with the previous two companies in Dubai and when you were working in the UK.
Definitely.
But not to this level, is that right?
I don't do anything half-heartedly. It is just not in my nature. I am very much all in or all out. There is no grey area. So I was very, very passionate about what I was doing. And of course, I had the belief in the companies that I represented. But when I went to White & Co, this is going to be quite an interesting statement to make. When I went to White & Co, I genuinely don't believe there's another company in this market that does what we do for brokers.
Yeah.
I really don't think there is.
Agent-centric.
Exactly. So why not represent the best company in the market as somebody that does take a lot of pride in what they do? I'm in the right place. It aligns with what I value. It aligns with what I think is important to the people that I'm hiring. And it enables me to continue this passion and have this drive. And yeah, 100%, I just want to continue being part of the growth.
Yeah. And a lot of what you do and the sort of passion you show, because we saw a book there, self-help book, Atomic Habits, and you've clearly read some of those books. Yeah. But then you implement them properly. A lot of people read those books. Yeah. They never really implement it or take advantage of it. And you've done both. And when you can give clear examples as you've done with the success you've had, that really counts, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's great to see. So that was 6 months. Will you come back on the podcast again in the future for an update?
Definitely. Keep giving these updates. Obviously, just to kind of touch base on things that have happened over the past 6 months. White & Co have won multiple awards. We won fastest growing brokerage in Dubai. We won Agency of the Quarter in Q3, and we've just won most true brokers. So
Fantastic.
we have the most agents with the highest number.
Is that a Beirut thing?
That's Beirut, yeah.
Yeah.
So highest number of genuine listings in the market, which I think is testament, obviously, to the agents' hard work, getting themselves out there, the directors for keeping everybody on track. And just a personal achievement from my side.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the personal.
Yeah, so I was the only British expat to be named in the top 10 LinkedIn creators in the UAE, and number 1 for the HR industry in the whole of the UAE. So that was definitely a motivation to keep turning up and doing what I'm doing on LinkedIn for sure.
Well, I mentioned to a few people that you were coming back on the podcast, and so often you hear the recruitment queen of Dubai, in real estate. It's so yeah, fantastic the work you've done. Really look forward to getting you back on. Thank you very much, Jodi.
Thank you for having me.